Greetings, I'm Lance.
And I am Scandal.
And
let's date a dragon together. Yay!
Part of us go, let's sleep with Phoenix together. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
That doesn't sound right.
Let's Netflix and chill together.
Netflix and toast.
Though, honestly, I have sometimes had that problem where some people are like, let's do this thing. And I'm like, I hope at least it's a good movie.
Right?
Like, there were people going, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this really aggravating and annoying movie, or like, we're not even going to discuss this. Like, let's watch a movie. Let's not discuss watching a movie or discuss basically interests or anything else. Let's just watch a movie and hope that you like it. And then when you get annoyed, I wonder why.
We'll do movie and a dinner. Okay, so I was told one time that the perfect format for a date with someone you don't know is movie first, then dinner. Because then even if you have nothing in common, you have something to talk about, which is the movie.
Yes!
And I'm going, okay, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
But also, if you have nothing in common, for me, how'd you end up on a date?
Right?
But some people date way faster than I do. Some people are just like, I met them, they asked me out, they met me, I asked them out, whatever it was. And then we're just totally like, all I know is that I saw them in this location. Like,
right?
That's it, and how cool they looked.
There is also the problem, though, that I've noticed sometimes, too, because we're not always necessarily super communicative about dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that problem that I've seen where people will go, well, that was a date. And you're like, it was?
It was? You just asked if I wanted to go to a movie.
Like
you didn't say even with you. You're like, hey, do you want to go see this movie?
Right? And then people are like, I went on a date! And you're like, we didn't go on a date, we just went out to a movie.
We just went and saw
that
a movie.
was a date! You know, and that's the thing, I'm like, okay.
Sometimes you're like, am I dating all of my friends then?
Right?
Everyone I know, I have dated to a movie.
Which honestly, at the same time, yes, date your friends. Why not? It'd be fun. Also, just date your friends because they're your friends and you have a cool ass fun time with them.
Right? But also, like, it can be, like, again, you're setting a date, sort of like your costume is literally your wardrobe.
Right.
I'm wearing an American costume.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's also dating. It's just you've set a date to do a thing. You went and did it. You dated.
Right.
So, like, there are different colloquial ways to do it. And it's totally fine and perfectly capable to platonically date your friends.
Yeah.
I would say, like, you can do it either way. Either way. I'm either interested in more of a relationship with my friend or I'm just maintaining a relationship by dating my friend.
Right.
Done. And we're just friends.
Yeah. And it's a good time for all. And we're still sneezing.
Damn it.
Today is a sneeze day.
2 episodes.
Ah!
All right. Him talking like that is too dangerous.
Which I don't understand.
I'm feeling really lonely and I want people to pay attention to me and make me feel valid because that's what I've learned in all the stories, not only that I've written, but that I've read, that the way you feel valid is by having important boys pay attention to you and like you.
Yes, important boys who have lots of money. And Phoenix is very happy to go, I have money!
I will give you so much money. Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
I drip you, I would put jewels all over you, it'd be great.
You know, I will just bury you in a hoard, it's fine.
I'm good.
You know that whole dragon thing? We totally do that, where we have just massive piles of treasure. I'll just you could just sled down that if you want to and just make snow angels in the bottom, it's fine.
Ow.
Oh. You should be tough enough to do that as a dragon slayer, you know?
Should I? I've never thought about it before. Because that's not a thing that happens.
Because everyone says that would hurt. And so I go, okay, that would hurt.
Like Scrooge McDuck going through all of his hoards of gold, and actually people talking about it, going like he should be dead.
Ow.
He should totally be dead.
I grab the remote, desperately turning up the volume. I'll focus on the movie! Wah! You know what I want. Oh, go ahead, go for it.
You know what I want.
Yes! The actor pulls the actress to him. Then, giving her a fiery kiss with fire.
Phoenix, whoa!
Why are we watching dragon fiction? No!
How did we get the dragon channel?
Oh, wait.
What?
Are we just basically watching, superheroes and this is like the flame kissing someone kind of thing? You're just like, whoops, bad metaphor, can't do it. My cheeks heat up as I remember Phoenix next to me. You mean squished up against him, cuddled in his arms. Or
are we just kind of embarrassed? Because I will have to tell you, sometimes where I've watched movies and I've watched movies with family, you just get kind of embarrassed because you're like, that seems really passionate.
You also realize...
And you go I'm not supposed to be sharing this media apparently with parents. Also, or, with some people where you go, I'm embarrassed, will you judge me for this?
Also, you can watch a movie and be like, that movie was fine and fun and interesting. And then you share it with friends and you go, I forgot about how explicit the sex scene is and now that you're sitting here, I feel really weird about it.
Oh my God, I remember we did stuff like that. We're like, da-da.
Well, there is this part. I will share Deadpool with my friend and go, oh yeah, there is a 6-minute fucking montage. It's basically PG-13 rated, if you will, but it's totally right there.
It's right there, which I actually think is really funny because a lot of people are like, oh, it was so intense, and I was like, it really wasn't. But then again, I'm like, I've been exposed to so much more media, I think, than in some parts of the United States, which is a weird thing to realize sometimes, where you're just like, I don't have some of the hang-ups that I think they try to encourage or say that a lot of people in the United States do.
As far
but
as...
like is in regards to like sex.
Oh, okay.
Like sometimes where you're also like, this was fun, this was consensual. You were kind of like, yes, I'm on board for you guys having a good time. And then you think about it and you go, maybe this isn't a thing that everybody just sort of goes, yay! You know?
And, yeah, I have a very, like, generally if there's going to be any sexual content in a movie, if I'm going to watch it with someone, if I know, like, it's something I've seen, I will warn them. Kind of be like, this is a thing that we're going to share visually.
So the whole thing about the Deadpool reference was because we actually did try to share the Deadpool movie with somebody. Because they were like, I want to watch it! And we were like, okay, cool.
Oh, we
we're
forgot
gonna watch
about
it.
it, both of us.
Totally forgot.
And
I was like, I forgot most of the jokes. I was just like, yeah, it's the Deadpool movie. It's fun.
And then
I
it
mean,
came
there
up
was
and we were
some
like, well,
stuff
there
in it
it
that
is.
like, again, like, the movie's not perfect, absolutely. And there are things about it that I thought was a little bit tasteless. Or
Super
whatever.
tasteless occasionally?
Yeah, like,
anyway.
whoa. Anyway.
All right. This is so awkward.
But this is why
normally
it's important.
I watch these by myself or read these by myself in a void where I'm having a romantic and or, you know, sexy experience by myself. For me, with me, in a void. You know, so many of these are isolationist fantasies. It just occurred to me. I think I do that too in my writing. Oh, damn. Oh, I mean, Phoenix is right against me. Whoops.
Oops, it's so awkward. Also, I have to say, like, for me, I'm really entertained that you guys just were instantly like, yep, romance movie. Or Phoenix was like, I don't know, it's just people TV. Let's watch people TV.
I turned on something and it said movie. I knew we were looking for a movie, so I picked that one.
I picked a movie. Oh, you like this movie? Yep, it's a movie. All right.
It's a human world movie. It'll be great.
That'd be awesome.
Honestly, if I were small and it was like, well, let's watch, like, a lot of old movies, though, like, let's watch old movies together, do have romance in them.
It's true.
So if you turn on the Classics channel and you're watching, like, Casablanca, and you're watching, like, what's that other big one with the Humphrey Bogart one?
Maltese Falcon?
Yeah, maybe or that one, or like the one with the whole like diner thing. I don't remember. Anyway,
It's okay.
But like,
there's a few of them. I like.
Or if you're watching any of like the old musicals or any of those, there's
so
huge romance elements in lots of.
Well, the big thing is also people always say that romance is fairly transformative. There's a lot of big change that basically happens. It's one of the easiest air quotey things to write about because there's so much that happens. Basically, of like trying to get two characters to figure out how they would get together / mash their faces together, which can be interesting. Which I think is one of the reasons why a lot of people also role play about a lot of romance. Let alone it seems to, because we also say that that's a big and important thing. Like,
enemies to lovers, speed run. Oh, sorry.
I love that one.
It's so funny.
Like, I feel like that's probably why I think there's a lot of media in reference to it, but I also think a lot of people go, well, it's the easiest thing to write about, but I'm like, that seems very, like, oversimplified.
Honestly, I think in a lot of ways, let me try and address that.
That's fine.
Romance feels easier to write about than like friendship or close family ties because we have these social landmarks for the progression of romance. But we do not have these social landmarks for the progression of friendship. Like, you don't have a first base, second base, third base home run in friendship where we watched a movie together, where I saved you from a bear together, where I helped you hide the body, and that's the real friendship.
Yes!
Kind of thing. There aren't these same markers. So with romance, since we have clear social markers, at least here in America, and it seems in the foreign media I've exposed to in a lot of other places the way they do romance, there are these clear progression markers, unlike in other relationships. A working relationship doesn't necessarily have the same easy progression markers. Now, there are progression markers, and you can show the increase of trust, you can show the increase of reliability, you could show basically marbles being put in the jar. I don't know if you know that metaphor, but it's a really good one for basically building confidence and trust in another person. And it's basically this idea that romance is easy because we have these clear markers.
Yes.
And then you can see that it got there. And you can explore what it takes to get through each of those markers.
And again, like I said, I think also on top of that, it really is one of those things where people go, that's the most obvious, basically, like, transformative state is basically romance.
It's going from...
Which I also feel like that was a gross oversimplification, basically, of like friendships. And it's been very frustrating to me as somebody who also is just like, I get tired of people going, it's just about romance. And you're like, but why aren't they also really good friends, too?
And friendship...
And also that thing of, like, where I've read a lot of books, and you go, clearly, your girl best friend is actually super fucking into you, and then a boy comes along and your main female character doesn't give a shit about your friend anymore, and your friend gets very jealous, basically. What I read is jealousy. And possessive, and goes, why this boy shows up? And I'm like, And
then you get frustrated and angry because you've got a crush kind of thing. And it's really awkward. But the thing is like, there are so many times where friendship does change and transform your lives.
Oh, God, yeah.
And enough people don't write it, because again, you have to be really thoughtful about making it accessible because there aren't those clear markers. So we've mentioned the heteronormative fandom before.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of where those clear, like, landmark markers come from.
Right.
And if we had more of those in friendship, while it might make it oversimplified, it would make it easier for people to access, you know, friendship is go, this is amazing.
Right? Well, there's
that's
also
why it takes like 5 seasons of My Little Ponies to go, we're deeply real friends now.
Even though you were kind of like, you guys were there, and because of usually like basically all that social context, you just go, they're all really good friends now, which I actually think is really interesting. People really do honestly jump from 0 to 100 in media really, really quickly. And not that that's a bad thing. People really do point out going like, look, it's a fucking 2-hour movie. You have your entire life to basically build a relationship. They have 2 hours in which they need to try to convey to you this relationship. So they try going basically for all the shorthand. However, I'm also like, but there are some basically like even though it's romantic or friendship-based, you know, things that are going on where they have those relationships, you're going like, but I feel like this was done really well. And they basically try to put in little moments to basically be like, these are these characters that really were paying attention to each other. And yes, I understand it's 2 hours long, but sometimes you watch some of them and I'm like, no, that was like 6 hours of my life and I just watched that and it was amazing.
Again, I have talked about how there's a lot of shorthand for bigger things you want to tell. There's ways to do skillful short hops and long hops, which are a writing convention. If you're not familiar with them, just look them up. They're clearly explained on the internet. I would say, but because we're running a little long, not doing anything.
Nope, doing all the things.
That help you connect people to what's going on in meaningful ways.
Yes.
At any rate, Phoenix takes my chin, turning my face to his. Why don't we give it a try too? Wink, wink, nod, nod, I don't even have time to say anything as his lips meet mine. Hey, you're supposed, okay, you asked this time? Pushes his face back, whoop! You asked this time, bonus, plus, excellent. You're supposed to wait for the answer. Him, what? Oh, you're supposed to ask and wait for the answer. Oh, it's 2 parts? It's not only just grab you and do something, it's 2 separate steps on top of that. Yes. Every time? Yes. Oh. But I got one of them right.
Yay! I'll get in there.
Small victory.
Small victory, however, overall fail.
Overall felt, he's like, I feel like I did better than not, so I'll credit me. All right.
You can credit yourself, but it's also about me too, you doofus. You're not just supposed to be having an experience on me.
Really?
Yes.
But you're supposed to have one on me, and we just do that together. Small, my God, is that how you dragons do it? We're not about body language, really, usually, yeah. And fire language, but you can't do that, so you're going to have to... You're a little... I hate to say it, you're a little bit disabled in that way. You can't speak a whole piece of the language.
Oh, eventually, though, don't worry, I'll teach you how to do fire magic.
I'll totally teach you how to do it.
I'll teach you the language of fire. It'll be awesome.
You will communicate so good. It'll be great.
Language of what?
Yeah, you'll be good. All right.
How do you...
I don't even have time to say anything as his lips meet mine. My skin feels like a fire where it touches me.
Which is just on my chin.
Ow.
And my lips.
Ow.
Ow. Feels like a fire, it burns.
Ow. Or it feels like a fire. Not it feels like fire, or like fire touching me, going, it just feels like a fire? What does it feel like to be a fire?
Right?
I feel like a fire. Kin's fire, immediately.
Yes, this is... Kin's fire.
This is a few minutes.
My dude, that's what we call a pyromaniac.
Phoenix turns aside. Oh my God. Lips teasing my ear. What?
What?
You nibble my ear. That's what you do to me, Small.
When I nibble your ear, it means that I'm nibbling my own ear, which means that you're nibbling my ear, which means that the nibble of the...
This is what you do to me. You nibble my ear. You compel me.
My ear.
Either 1, I nibble your ear, or 2, I compel you to nibble my ear. You make me nibble your ear. I do. What? Please nibble my ear. You're going to be amazing.
I've missed out on ear nibbles for so long.
My ears are so lonely.
I'm used to having my boys. My boys holding my ears.
This is what you do to me, Small. You make me nibble ears.
Oh my God. It's like, that's why I have the earring.
It adds a little bit of stimulus when they go num 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 num. And she's like, yes, it's so good. That's my most sensitive ear. It's really good. All right. Gently, he nibbles my earlobe, making a jolt of pleasure run through me. I
squeal because it tickles like crazy.
Right, I go, it feels good, but holy shit! Flings aggressively out of the bed. Phoenix, I'm super ticklish! Him, what? Wait, really? Gets his gleam in his eyes. No, he's like, me too, we should do it. Tickle war ensues. Neighbors knocking on the wall. Oh my God, shut up! Stop banging us! We're just ear nibbling! It's fine, we're just ear nibblers! We're just own ear nibblers. All right. Child's a pleasure. I know I'm gonna die.
I'm honestly like, this is what you do to me. You make me nibble ears.
That's what you do.
What?
That's your effect on me. It's incomprehensible. It's unexpected.
You don't nibble my ear.
No one else makes me nibble ears. You just inspire me so to go nim 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 nim.
He's also like, it's been so long, I haven't had many ear nibbles. I didn't know I needed to be inspired to ear nibble. I just nibbled.
Now I needed the inspiration, and it feels so conflicting. It's very melancholy. Why it's going, because I need inspiration, and because I have it. I miss home so bad. No. Gets an emotional scene with Phoenix where you comfort him crying because he misses his home so bad. And you're like, I'm so sorry. That's your conflict. You really just want to go home. And you'll be fine once you go home.
Please come home with me.
Okay, I don't ever want to be apart from you. He says into your ear. Oh my God, that's so bad. I just against your ear. I just like it's so bad.
Also, like, that's kind of loud in your ear.
I know, you're like, ow.
Ow.
Loud. At least maybe he whispers, who knows. I close my eyes, waiting for more, because that's how the fan fiction goes. That's how the romance goes. I don't know if any of that's realistic expectations at all.
And also...
But a moment later, Phoenix sits up, letting out a heavy sigh. Promised I'll be good, didn't I? I'm really good.
I'm very good. You also squealed and like bolted yourself to the ceiling there for a second.
Really melancholy, missing my whole life and my harem and my, good dragon comforts and, the pleasures of life and home. Honestly, my parents, I have a great relationship with my parents. We work really well together.
Right. I'm also like, okay, so part of my thing in regards to this narrative, what's starting to bug me is that, again, if Phoenix is supposed to be the really more aggressively sexual one, what bugs me is going like, the sex is basically the goal with him, rather than being like, it's just a part of the experience. Right. Because if he is that sexual, why not it just be a part of the experience? Sometimes I really do get annoyed, basically what it feels like is sort of like, it's getting into that virgin mentality thing of going, I have to wait until we're married, or that you pick me for us to actually do the real sex.
So I have criticized a number of dating games, actually, especially the Arcana, in reference to going, you set up this intensely steamy, very physical scene, and then you cut it off because. Right. Basically because you're not allowed to go anywhere, because you haven't got there yet, because whatever. And I've actually theorized going, hey, well, look, if sex wasn't the big deal, wasn't the final product, wasn't the end of the relationship, we finally have had the sex, which is where a lot of romantic relationships do end.
They do it in romance books a lot.
In stories, in books, in movies, a lot of them end once you finally get there. Or if they start out boning early, there's still a lot of angst involved, and you finally have the really connective open moment, and that's the end kind of thing. But the thing is for me, I think it'd be very interesting to have a romance game where you could have sex with people and it wasn't a super big deal. Right. Like, where it happened, but that wasn't the culmination or the end of the relationship, and it also wasn't sleazy. It was just a thing that could happen. They're like, good God, I'd love to have casual sex. That's fine, sure. And then eventually it will have implications in the sense that they're going, we've been doing this a while and I really like you. Do you want to make it official kind of thing?
Right, that thing of actually going more consistent, clear communication. Yeah, being like,
some people really do. They do like weekend hookups, or they do more like a casual, like sort of hookup culture kind of thing, where they're really in this position of going, yeah, the way I get my sex need filled is not usually through a consistent relationship, because a lot of those are tiring, exhausting, challenging, or just don't fit well into my very busy life. But I still want sex, connection, that kind of thing. So I just occasionally hook up with people.
Right? Or it's again one of those things of being like, it's literally a part of the process. Now that's not to say that everybody needs to do it. Deep respect for people who also don't. Like, I just find it to be really frustrating because in regards to, especially with like asexuality, for sure.
Ace is not invisible, however you express it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like, holy crap. I think that's actually one of the biggest frustrations sometimes, though, that I've had, too, though, is like, it seems like even for people who go, like, I have identified as asexual, there seems to be a lot of pressure from people either around them or people who seems to be involved with them. And again, I don't identify as asexual, but I see it sometimes, or I feel like I see it. So I won't be assumptive here. But I feel like, I mean, and I've got to be on some level, obviously. But is there something where I watch it and I'm just like, I feel like people, though, are still expecting going, though, but in the end, you'll fall in love with me enough, or we'll be good enough that you'll at least let me have sex with you?
And asexuality can be expressed, obviously, in different ways. But for those people who aren't into doing any sex acts, that this expectation that I've seen written out actually, and some people expressing their frustration from as an asexual from their point of view with a partner going, but it's just something you do, or it's just something you have to do, or they don't, your partner won't ever feel loved if you don't do it.
Right.
I think that's unfair.
I do too.
And I feel like there are other ways to handle it. On the other hand, I don't want to jump in on anyone's personal experience in any way, but it's one of those things of going, sex can look very, very different to very many people, and so can relationship building, which one, doesn't have to involve sex even if it's romantic, and two, it can involve sex even if it's not romantic.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be angsty
At
either
all.
way.
Yeah.
There's so much basically catalyst for romance in angst that's like, what would a comfortable romance even look like? And I've had people actually criticize comfortable romance and go, well, one, it's boring, well, two, there's no intensity, three, there's no passion in it, that kind of thing. Going, once things settle down to basically a balanced relationship, nothing's happening anymore. And I think a lot of that is basically going, I can't connect to it because my life is full of angst and trauma. And so if things are comfortable, it feels unrealistic to me. And I can't connect to the kind of release and catharsis that I want when the intensity comes together and culminates of everybody going, we had all this angst and then we resolved it through hate sex or intense, like cathartic sex or whatever it is. And that is the only kind I as a reader can access because that's my whole life.
Well, I wonder actually, so part of me has been curious kind of as you've been talking about this, because I've experienced obviously not necessarily the most healthy relationships myself. Sometimes I really actually kind of wonder, and this is again from me, because this is mostly what I have, if a lot of it actually isn't basically based off of, I'm used to abuse. Abuse is the only way this feels normal. Because the thing is actually people talk about if basically you perpetuate basically abuse cycles, especially if you've ever been abused yourself. You have this expectation that sex needs to look like a certain thing, or the only way you get to the good sex or the real sex at all is, again, this thing of you're perpetuating a certain cycle, whether it's abusive or not, but basically going like, after we have an argument, we always have sex. After we do this thing, we always have sex. Whatever it is, and that's the way you get to the sex. It's actually always not a thing that you do because it's fun to do with that person or whatever else. Even on I mean, it's so interesting. Like, just kind of like sitting here and listening, going like, that's
a thing.
So
I can say, and for me, especially reading a lot of fiction, fantasy, romance, and or fan fiction romance kind of thing, there does seem to be this incredible, this tendency to rely on angst, anxiety, drama, and conflict to build the sexual tension, and specifically to build to hot sex. That you have discomfort and unknowing and basically conflict that catalyst hot sex.
However,
and for me,
I could also say though, as a point of contrast, just for my friend, that it might also be though based off of your own experiences and the kind of sex that you basically were also able to attach to.
Well, I was gonna say, and like I said, this was based on my experience and what I've read.
But I'm just kind of trying to say that a little bit more explicitly.
And that's right.
Because that's one of the things.
This is one experience, but it is a particularly large chunk of fandom experience,
right?
And a particularly large genre chunk. Like there are definitely fluffy little romances. I mean, My Amish Marriage is very fluffy and cute and not based in angst, as far as I understand.
Right.
I would say so. There is differences, but there's this entire community around this, and I feel like these dating games are largely pitched towards that community,
right?
And going, you can't build a relationship without angst and conflict. And you know what? Sometimes people just meet in real life. They have a really good time together. They're super attracted to each other. They have really hot sex and develop a really good relationship, and there isn't a lot of angst and conflict, and it doesn't make it boring or things like that. But the thing is what I was going to say to my friend's point is going, in the abusive cycle kind of thing of you get conflict, then essentially resolution sex.
Right.
That it's sort of that idea that an abuser does an act of abuse. And then they do the apology phase, which is where I try and make it up to you some way. Whether that's through gifts, whether that's through actions.
The honeymoon phase. There's actually a cycle.
Whether it's through sex. And then the sex kicks off your honeymoon phase where they're being good, doing what they said they would do, not doing what they said they wouldn't do kind of thing. And obviously it falls out of that if it's an abusive cycle because it cycles again. I say, but it could be that a lot of people have been in those cycles, so that honeymoon phase, they know it won't last. So if you have good positive experiences that just stay there, they know it won't last. So again, it ruins that suspension of disbelief. Because even if it's meant to last, even if this person is having this experience and it's going to last, for them, it's always been a cycle, so it can't last. So they're just waiting for the bomb to drop.
Right. Yeah. Ooh. No, I mean, and again, that might be, for me, indicative of the kind of relationships, obviously, that I've had. Because that's basically the kind of stories that I usually either read or engaged in because I was trying to figure out more or less my own, basically, abuse cycles.
Yep.
So
anyways.
anyways, thank you very much for joining us, guys. We do really appreciate it. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe share our videos with somebody that you think like might have a good time with us, or maybe you'd like to just start a conversation. Because I know sometimes there are topics that are really hard to bring up on your own, and hearing somebody else sort of like bring them out might actually give you a good stepping stone, basically, to start your own kind of conversation.
Or if we've used words that you feel like encapsulate what you're trying to say that you haven't been able to say, please feel free to use our words for that.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much for joining us again. And if you, again, like what we do, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon. We've got some links in the description down below. If you did, that would be super cool. Other than that, though, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!